Well, hello there, tankers of the Blitz universe. I'm Flossie, and today I will be reviewing the Tornvagn. Now, this Tier 8 premium tank, in my opinion, plays similar to a Concept 1B. So, super good hull down, and I'll get more into that a little bit later. But first, let's break into the tank stats. And starting off with the gun. The average damage of this tank is 400 on its standard shells, 340 on its premium, and 500 on its high explosive. As for the penetration, it's 238 on the standard APCR, 278 on the premium APCR, and 75 on the HE. So yes, this tank does carry APCR as its standard shells and its premium ammo, so keep that in mind. As for the aim time and dispersion, this tank can be quite troll. It does have a fairly long aim time of 4.4 seconds, and although its dispersion of 0.326 is not all that terrible, I find this tank in-game actually, again, the gun can be quite troll, and you'll find that sometimes if you don't fully aim in your shots, you will be missing some of your shells. The tank does carry 10 degrees of gun depression, though, which is really quite nice, and you won't have any issues working ridge lines. In terms of the DPM, this is a big downside of this tank. It has a lot less DPM than a lot of Tier 8 heavies. So it has 1800 DPM while using calibrated shells. And yeah, again, that's less than tanks like the Amil, like auto-loading tanks. Like this has less DPM than auto-loaders. And yeah, it's not all that great. So you're really going to have to watch out for how long the reload is. You can see here, it's almost 13 seconds on its reload. And yeah, as for the tank's mobility, though, the tank goes 37 forwards, which is quite nice, and 14 in reverse is not terrible, but it's not great either. It's kind of average, so it's, again, not terrible. And the power to weight of 15.8 means that you won't really have too much trouble going your top speed, at least forwards. So that's pretty decent. Anyways, let's break into the tank's armor profile now. And you can see here, this tank's armor is extremely strong. Up against this tank, I'm using a T-77, and I will have calibrated shells enabled on it just to give it a little bit of extra pen. But you can see here, using its standard APCR shells, yeah, you're not getting through this tank, at all. Like, look at the upper plate. Auto bounce. Like, what is this? The 500 millimeters? Yes, let me just pen that really quick. Same with the turret. The turret's really strong. You can see here the weakest part of it. It's about 280. So, yeah, you're not really going to pen it. And you can see here you do have this little engine deck piece sticking up. So if you are, like, slightly above this tank, you will then be able to sling some shells into its engine deck. And some of these little corner cutouts, maybe. But this is, again, you're not really going to be penning this tank with standard shells unless you're able to see its lower plate. And even that, when you're using hull down 10 degrees of gun depression and you hide the lower plate, then, yeah, what are you going to do with standard ammo? Not a whole lot, I will say, unless you're in a really high pen tank destroyer or heavy. But yeah, even then, normal shells, standard shells are not really going to cut through this. Now, loading premium, that's a different story. You can see here this flat midsection here actually becomes slightly weak unless you're using your full gun depression. So on flat ground, this tank, while loading heat at it, you can pen the midsection. These little side areas here, which are kind of strange, but they like cover up the tracks a bit, and the lower plate entirely. And when using your gun depression, however, even while using heat in some like really strong tank like the T-77, yeah, you do have these little tiny bits here, which can be penned sometimes. But like, I mean, look at how red this is, even with a T-77 using calibrated shells. Now, if you are in a tank, of course, you can see here, these are only 300 millimeters thick. And I say only, but there are a few tanks in Tier 8, heavy-wise, that can actually pen through this with its premium ammo. So if you're shooting at this tank with a T-34, aim for the lower section of the turret, and you will be able to pen it. Now, albeit it's going to be a tricky pen because look at the size of the turret. It's like I'm shooting at a shoebox right now. This thing has a tiny turret. And again, the whole profile of the turret is really small. Now, you do want to keep your turret facing your opponents, as if you angle it slightly, like 20 degrees to the left or right, you will then be able to get penned by even like standard shells, you can see. So keep your turret facing your opponents at all times, like a Concept 1B. As for the tank's side armor, you can see here you don't really want to to be side scraping in this thing. The side armor, the tracks especially, are pretty weak, and you're going to get penned even right through the drive wheel at a pretty steep angle, I will say. So be careful with the side armor of this tank. And as for the rear, well, you're going to get HE'd by pretty much everything. As you can see here, it has 30 millimeters of rear armor. And yeah, so basically play this thing hull down and you are going to be a complete beast. Anyways, let's get into some gameplay. So, like I said before, you want to play this thing hull down. And you want to use the turret armor to your advantage paired with the 10 degrees of gun depression. That's how you're going to most effectively play in this tank. As I just showed, the side armor and the lower plate are both quite terrible. And even at the slightest angles, you are going to get penned in your side track wheel especially. And that's real pain. Another thing to mention is that in-game, this gun is very troll. You'll find that the overall dispersion, like when fully aimed in, isn't terrible. But that aim time is really long, is fairly long. And if you don't fully aim in your shots to the maximum amount of dispersion, or the minimum amount of dispersion that you can, you're going to be missing a fair amount of your shells just because of how inaccurate this thing is. But anyways, we are on Himmelsdorf, and we do get a nice shell starting off into the AMX. And so far, we're looking quite good. We're in a good spot to basically hold this side of the map. And unfortunately, look at that. How did that not deal damage? That literally penned his hatch, but oh well. Yeah, that's unlucky. But yeah, let's see if we can... I'm going to load premium this time because apparently, yeah, that's going to be an annoying pen to actually get out on his turret. But we do get a premium shell into his turret there, finally. And the Annihilator finishes him off. So, so far we're looking good. Even on a flat map like this, you are able to use these berms to your advantage because they are quite tall, and this tank has a low profile to begin with, so you're going to be able to use a lot of different types of terrain to actually get hull down in this thing. And it's quite nice, actually. The low profile of this tank makes it a difficult target to hit at, in terms of when you're side-hugging tanks like the low here, or, I mean, that's how I'm going to pronounce it, but you pronounce it however you want. Yeah, you can see here, this guy is going to have a very hard time because he can't get his gun down enough to see my hull. Again, the tank's hull is very low to the ground, so yeah, it's quite easy to just side hug people in this vehicle and kind of destroy them, and they won't be able to do a whole lot back to you. So yeah, we are going to get another shell, finishing them off right now. And yes, I mean, just like that, the game's kind of over. We didn't do a whole lot, but at least we were able to get a win. So yeah, just like that, all that's left is the Borask and the Elephant. Hello, Elephant. How are you doing? How would you like to get shot in the side right now? You gonna poke that? Oh, yes, you are. So, yes, I do get a nice sort of snap shell into the Elephant's side armor there, and hopefully we can get another shell out in a couple of seconds here. Let's see. I'm gonna go for the Borask. We do get a very nice 493 HE into his side, and just like that, we actually broke 3,000 damage in this very quick game. You can see there, although this tank doesn't have that much DPM, if you are able to get it into an aggressive enough position to where you have team support with you, but where you can also kind of frontline and hold, you're able to get out a decent amount of shells, again, even with that terrible DPM. Now, let's get into game number 2. We'll see if we can do anything different or better. Let's see if we can do more damage. But yeah, I mean, that was a pretty good showcase of even on a flat map, being able to use your turret on like mounds of dirt, even on heavy side there. You can see just how low the armor profile of this tank is. And again, against tanks like that low we were fighting there, we were able to just side hug him and basically destroy him, and he couldn't do anything against us. So yeah, there you go. We are on Lagoon for game number 2. And it looks like the majority of the team is going towards C, which is fine by me. I mean, either way, I have hull down spots to go to. So, yeah, you can be quite flexible with which side of the map you can go to in this tank. It doesn't really matter, but again, you just want to stick with your team as much as possible. Yeah, so let's see what we can do. You can see there, they have apparently a couple of tanks going this way as well. And actually, by judging their lineup, I wouldn't be surprised if their whole team decided to go this way. I would not be surprised at all. So their Chimera is over there, and our Barask is getting quite nuked, and our Progetto is in a horrible position right now. He is probably going to die quite quickly. Unfortunately for that Predator, he's going to lose some HP for taking that aggressive of a position from us. So yes, we are at least able to get some shells out right now. And if this guy keeps sitting in that same position, then I will get another one into his rear. Unfortunately, it does low roll though. It looks like our team is also just bailing, so that's crazy, bro. And this Progetto is trying to use me as cover, but I do need to back up as well there, buddy. So you can just go right on ahead and come on, can you get out of my way, please? Thank you. That's great, bro. Anyways, I'm going to make my way back quite a bit here. I'm not going to completely give up this side of the map, though, because if I do that, then it's basically a loss. So I am going to, again, hold this position the best of my ability. And this guy is, well, he's kind of just YOLOing our Progetto. So our Progetto is probably going to die, but so is that guy, because I don't know why he's playing that aggressive. And yeah, you can see there he just kind of dies. Unfortunately, this EXP has quite a lot of pen, and I don't know how that one missed. I clearly aimed at his gray spot there, but oh well. Yeah, that tank has a lot of pen. It has the same gun as the T-34, and the T-34 has tons of premium pen, so he can just pen our turret at some angles as well. So I'm going to have to be really careful about that and basically wiggle my tank around as much as I can. But it doesn't look like our team is doing all that well to begin with, so yeah. I need some help here, buddy. Our light tank is just kind of going away and YOLOing another player. So I guess I will be dealing with this EXP right now. And yeah, this is not looking too good. I'm going to try and gun block him as best as I can here. And I will get a premium shell into his upper plate there. He does set us on fire, but yeah, I mean, this game was kind of over already, so yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm going to try and side hug him, though, because you can see here, this tank is very tall, so he's going to have a really hard time dealing with us, and we do actually get a clear, although we do get set on fire again. So yeah, that's unfortunate. Still dealt 2,500 damage in this second game, so not a terrible result, and our team kind of just fell apart there really quickly, so there wasn't a whole lot else I could do that game. But yes, anyways... Game number 2, defeat, but that's okay. We will get into a third battle and see if we can make it 2 for 3. Okay, we actually did 2,600 damage because I guess we rammed someone or something. But yeah, so not terrible, but again, with bad teams, you're not going to be able to carry all that effectively in this tank just because you don't have the DPM to do so. But anyways, let's see what game number 3 has in store for us. And we are on Vineyards, which is another quite good map for this tank. Basically, any map that has even a slight pile of dirt, you will be able to use hull down. You will be able to use this tank hull down with. Simply because of, again, the low profile this tank carries. It's really quite nice. But anyways, I'm going to make my way towards mid. And I apologize, my nose is really itchy right now for whatever reason. It's really annoying, and I couldn't tell you why, but oh well. You're going to have to deal with me scratching my nose every 10 seconds. Anyways, I will make my way towards mid and see what I can hold, what kind of positioning I can hold. You see on the enemy team, they have an Emil 1, and that's about it for hull down tanks. So, yeah. I mean, their Bisante, I guess he's a hull-down tank as well, but I'm not too worried about him. You can see there, we can kind of just pen right through his turret with our premium shells. And it looks like our whole team has decided to go mid as well. Apparently, everyone wants to hull down today, so that's okay by me. I'm actually going to look across and see if I can spot... Yes, there we go. There's tanks on their heavy side there. We do get a nice high roll into the Progetto. I don't really know why their mediums are over there to begin with, but oh well. Yeah, their Pershing just got nuked. Wow, congratulations, bro. Anyways, yeah, that's great. I'm just going to keep holding this position here, and I'm going to wait for this Progetto to peek that again, because he doesn't look like the smartest player. And wow, he actually just penned that somehow. That's crazy. I don't know where he penned me, I'm going to be honest. But yeah, he does pen me once, but he's basically a one-shot now, so I'm not too worried about him anymore. And this Emil is also in the open, so I'm going to aim in fully and then get a shell into his side there. He's not a very good player again. He's kind of just sitting there in the open. Their Progetto is crossing now, and that basically just leaves me to shoot at this Emil again. Lets me get a shell in, and oh boy, I just got nuked everywhere. Yeah, you can see there if you angle your turret in this tank, like multiple people shooting at you at once, you're not really going to get many bounces. Yeah, so be careful of that. Don't do what I did, and I'm getting YOLO'd, which is crazy. And he actually bounces me. Congrats, bro. You actually failed. And apparently my team cannot pen this guy either, so that's crazy. Hopefully, he does bounce me again. That was quite the YOLO, I will say. Unfortunately for me, I am stuck. So, yeah, that's crazy. Thank you. This is quite the situation I am in right now. Oh my goodness. We actually finally got ourselves out of that horrible situation we were in. And let's see if I can blind shot the Pershing. We do get the blind shot into him. How predictable. Bro poked the bush after he got unspotted. Anyways, we are still alive somehow. I really don't know how we didn't die to that guy who just YOLO'd us. And I'm going to hopefully get a shell into this IS-2 shielded on our side. And we're actually almost at 3,000 damage, even with this weird game that's been out happening right now. I don't really know what to say about this game, actually. And let's see if I can get a snap shell. No, we could not snap our shell into the J Panther there. But that's okay. Let's see if we can spot up anyone on this side here. Yes, there's the IS-2, and we do get another shell into him. Unfortunately, I do turn my turret, which I probably shouldn't have done, and we do die. So that's very unfortunate. That was a very painful ending to that battle. I really just wanted to gouge my eyes out watching these players miss that Bisante. But we were able to do 3,300 damage for our final battle and come out with the victory. And yeah, I mean, you can see there, this tank, it does well, but it is kind of, you have to play it cautiously. And I wouldn't say this tank is very beginner friendly. So, yeah, I mean, this is a fun tank, but again, if you do not play this thing carefully, you will not be doing well in it. And, yeah, anyways, if you out there enjoyed today's video and you are not yet subscribed to the channel, I highly recommend you do so. It's a fantastic way to support my channel and stay up to date on the new videos when I release them almost daily. Anyways, I will see you next time. Bye-bye.